I'm ready for my close-up.
Richard. Say goodnight, Richard. So this morning I took a lot of video. Unfortunately, for some reason, we had audio problems. I don't know what the heck it is, but I'm just going to have to go off mic. There was a lot of great video and audio that accompanied it, but I think there's one clip that, in fact, we had the audio of our mishap on the Danube River, which I think you'll find very comical. Anyway, hopefully you enjoy the video. Richard?
I don't know what to say.
Richard actually took his Garmin watch, and basically you'll track his movements, our movements throughout the city Danube. I think you'll find it kind of comical when we went in the Danube River, going back and forth all the time, and that's as a result of our ferry mishap. So the rest of the tour basically relied on us going on bus to bus to bus, which we wasted an awful lot of time on. Finally, we had to take a cab home, but
we got bussed out. It was just it was cruel.
Yeah.
And so we
finally took a cab home.
We bailed out in the cab.
Yeah. Went
to a restaurant that was just a local one around the corner. Had a wonderful meal.
Yeah. And the owner basically gave us a shot for free at the end. So
a parting shot.
A parting shot. So our tour experience, both in Prague and over here, it hasn't been all that successful. Would you say?
Different types of tours. In Prague, we had the organized narrated tour, and it was organization problems on the tour provider's part. Here, we did the hop-on, hop-off bus, which included a boat trip, and there were multiple hop-on, hop-off bus companies. It was confusing to know which company was coming and which bus, which route it was. It took its toll on our
Actually,
time.
We started off at 9:10. I showed up promptly for the beginning of the tour. Actually, we were sold on this one company that the hotel had promoted. It was cheaper than the one I wanted. We both wanted to purchase, but the bus never showed up, so we had to go back to the hotel, get a refund, and basically go to this other tour. And that's where the problems just started with the cruise. Anyway, to make a long story short, enjoy the video because I think you'll find it rather comical. And Richard also has a route included in terms of where we were walking throughout the city. Okay, so I might have had the camera on burst, and anyway, shortly after we boarded this boat, we had an engine failure. We were drifting backwards, and I went to one of the crews, and I asked him whether we had a problem, and he basically went like this. So anyway, after a little while,
we started picking up speed with the current, and we ended up having the skipper right over here basically yell a lot of instructions. He was on his cell phone, he was on the radio, trying to get someone's attention to basically toss us a line. So right now, this other cruise ship that came on board came alongside us and basically tied us off. And now we're being towed back, not sure, probably back to port, grab another boat, see whether or not we're going to make the river cruise again. So it's been quite the exciting area or moment for the last little while. All these Chinese tourists over here on the next boat have been taking shots of us, curious about what sort of distress we're going through. In any case, so this morning we ended up switching tour companies because our first tour bus arrived, well, actually didn't arrive after 40 minutes of waiting. We went back and decided to take this tour, and now this boat mishap, the breakdown. It was actually getting quite concerning because the boat was going backwards for a last little while and picking up speed with the current. And we drifted maybe about, I don't know, half a kilometer downriver. And he was trying to use his helm to basically keep us center of the river. But it was increasingly difficult, and I think I saw a little bit of panic in his voice. So you can see he's not at the, at the helm at all. He's basically just letting this boat over here to guide us back. So, anyways, an interesting start of this river cruise. So I think we're going to just be nudged in back to dock number 10, where we started. Strangely enough, when we boarded, we had to cross over one boat, and Richard said that oh, we're going to a better boat. And yeah, yeah. Richard said, we're going to the better boat, and of course we ended up in this boat. Not so much better, but anyway. So
there's another boat following us right now.
Is there?
Yeah, and there's a hydrofoil on the shoreline as well.
So I guess we got company. They just wanted to make sure that we don't break a line and start drifting again. We're tied down to 2 points.
That's the back end of the hydrofoil.
Oh, that's the back end of the hydrofoil, yeah. So some of you may know, in the news about 2 weeks ago, there was an accident on the Danube in Budapest. One of these riverboats actually collided with a smaller boat in the Danube. I'm not sure exactly who was at fault, but essentially the boat that these South Korean tourists on was severely damaged, and 6 of them drowned. So I don't know if this is a pattern or whether or not this is the state of the conditions of a lot of these boats or seamanship, but certainly that I really don't think that the Hungarian Navy should be all that proud of themselves. And so on to our tour. That's the Buda side. We're going to be heading up the mountain on that Green Line bus to see the castle. That looks like an old Soviet statue there, Richard.
What's that?
It looks like an old Soviet statue, I think, up there.
It is, yeah. It's from that era. I can't remember much about it, but I remember being on that railing right there, having our picture taken. You could see the city behind us.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. All right. I wonder if the buses are any safer. Well, this we just finally docked to this boat here without any fenders. Anyway, we're finally back at dock.
I hope we meet that guy that sold us the tickets at the bar later.
Yeah,
We didn't go to therapy.
we're gonna talk to a good friend of the bus tour operator, and at the Destiny Club or Therapy Club and tell them about our experience. Anyways, these guys are slowly getting off, and we finally got. Our rescue boat is finally taking off, resuming the tour. So. So we got another 30 minutes to wait for another tour.
So if you want to roll the dice again, there's another boat coming in, and they'll be leaving in about 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, actually, strangely enough, that old boat that brought us in looks in worse shape than our own. So.